Welcome to the Sacred Designer Podcast. I'm your host, Alyssa Martin, kitchen and bath designer, entrepreneur, artist, and creative soul behind the Kitchen and Bath Digest. This is a show where we weave soulful design into every space and redefine what it means to create with intention. Here we don't just create beautiful homes, we design from the heart, embracing both the practical and spiritual. By pressing play, you'll be joining a community that creates not just for function, but for a sense of sacred space and personal alignment. On this podcast, you will learn to merge the art of design with soulful living, turning every remodeling project into a journey of self-expression and holistic beauty. This isn't just about kitchens and bathrooms, it's about embracing design as a path to a richer, more beautiful life. So let's step into this sacred designer together and create spaces that resonate with your soul. Welcome to the Sacred Designer Podcast. If you're new here, we're going to talk about the intersection of home and soul and how the spaces we create live that are never just aesthetic or functional, but they're about energy, intention, and transformation. I sit down with designers, organizers, healers, and space holders who understand our homes are mirrors. And when we shift our spaces, we shift our lives, whether you're remodeling your kitchen, or you're organizing your home, rearranging a closet, you're in the right place to believe that it's deeper than it actually looks. So, welcome to the Sacred Designer Podcast.
Hi,
I'm sitting here today
me.
with Dannie. Hello. And she represents a company that has been shaping American homes since 1947, Daltile. So what they simply started this company in Dallas in a little hut, and it has grown into the largest tile manufacturer in the United States. And what I love about Daltile's story is that it has scaled and it has evolved from opening their first sales service center in 1955 and launching natural stone collections. And they have sustainable innovations, which is super cool. Just love that. And they have just been stayed around by honoring the trends and honoring the craft. And I just think that's super cool. So anyways, I just wanted to say this is Dannie Hockenberry. So welcome to the Sacred Designer. Did I say that right?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
perfect. I thought I did, but just wanted to make sure. So let's just start with your story. So I know that you used to be a designer, and now that you work for Daltile and helping the designers and homeowners select their tile and stone. So tell me a little bit about that. Like, what was the transition that led you from designing spaces to focusing specifically on materials?
So I work predominantly in multi-build design studios for new home construction for most of my career. So I was working with a lot of the big names in new home construction. Really enjoyed doing that, and then I transitioned into a little bit more custom. And so at Mosaic Home Interiors for a little bit. Transitioning into where I am now was not only for the joy of getting to make my own schedule, but also to build more of a relationship with the people I work with. Previously, I would work with customers, love them, build a relationship. I only met with them once, maybe twice. For 2 to 4 hours. And then I would love them, but never see them again. And so now my customer is the person selling to the person that sees them maybe a couple of times, but then after that, your relationship is over. So now I have 150 customers and they've all become like family. And I get to build a relationship that just continues to grow. So on top of a flexible schedule, I have 150 best friends that I get to visit on a regular basis and hope that they buy stuff from me.
That's awesome. No, I've never really looked at that way, so that's kind of cool. Like, I know all designers are a little bit different, but like specifically in the commercial, spectrum of things, it is kind of a little bit more of a like a one-off, and then kind of like hi bye, right?
Right. And it's great when you're like, wow, that was really rough. I'm glad I don't have to see them again. But then there's the times that you're like, oh my God, like we could be besties. Like I could go out to lunch with you. Well, now my job is I get to bring you lunch and then I get to sell you cool things. And, so it's really nice when you get to kind of put all that together and really build relationships with people. So it's fun.
That's true. So like when you were designing, did you approach like the material selection in a certain way? right? Or was there, I mean, I would assume it's kind of like more like what that specific person was looking for, right?
Well, it was different depending on which part of my career you're looking at. When I'm in new home construction, it was a what can I do? What are you looking for? And how can we achieve your goal in the shortest amount of time possible? Because with builders, it's very regimented. They want to get you in and I want to get all your stuff done. I want you to love your stuff, but then they want it out, right? And then the next person comes in. When I was in more of a kind of the type of job that you're in, working more with a custom aspect, the contractors and stuff like that. That was a little bit different. I would have preliminary phone calls. You're really getting a feel for the client's taste, their budget. You're getting a feel for what they like. You're looking at Pinterest boards, things like that. And then curating the things before the client comes in to really fit the needs of what they're looking for. So it's kind of different depending on where my career you're looking at.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. But like, let's see here. What do you see that's like different if you're understanding like, so when you're in the thick of designing, and I'm just trying to think like what's the best way? Sorry, I'm totally distracted.
Is it my cat scratching on
Yeah, it was. I was like, what is that?
Did you hear it?
Yeah.
It was the cat on the scratcher.
Oh my God.
Over there making herself at home.
Oh my goodness gracious. I don't know why that threw me off. Okay. Um, so what would you have wished that you would have known as a designer, like about selecting the tile that, like as a designer, like is there anything that you know about tile, like now that you've kind of been like, more into the sales part of it and really just like understanding the deeper side of like what tile is and what it does? Like, is there anything that you would have liked to know, like either as a homeowner or a designer, like about tile that you know now?
Well, tile feels really permanent, so it's definitely something people don't take lightly, and I think that's for good reason. One thing I wished I'd known earlier on would maybe be a lot of the tools that exist now. I wish they had existed 15 years ago when I started, but they have been so helpful for current people purchasing. Just all of the things they have at their fingertips. Pinterest is a big one, but things I wish I knew then. I guess it would really be just the tools, just really accessing all of the tools that they have. Daltile actually has a lot of just being able to take a photo of your space and then taking a tile that you like and inputting it into that space.
Yeah,
Right?
that's super cool. That's so helpful.
And that's amazing. And so I think a lot of customers maybe don't know that they have that at their fingertips. Samples are great. So bringing things into your space and living with them for a few days, seeing it. How do I like it? Do I still like it today as I did yesterday? Do I like it in the morning light and in the afternoon light?
Yeah.
So
do you find like they're really focused on that, like how things are going to look like within the space or like even perspectives and things like that? I feel like people are hyper focused on like 3Ds and like different things like that.
I think it depends on the customer, but I think it's all really nice to be able to take samples home and live with them for a few days before you commit or things like that.
Is there anything you feel like that they're not thinking about, like like the designers aren't thinking about, or like the homeowners aren't thinking about, or like things that you find that you're constantly kind of like bringing to people's attention when it comes to like different selections?
With that, one thing that I do feel like gets overlooked is like face variation on tile, for instance.
Okay.
Clients don't always know to ask questions about how many repeats there are on a tile. So they think if they go somewhere with inexpensive, cheap tile, that it's going to be just as pretty as the expensive tile sold somewhere else. And it's very much not the same. And so a lot of people are like, I'm just going to go the cheap route. And they don't know any better. So understanding that there is a lot going into why one product is vastly cheaper than another. And I get it. There's different products at different price points for different budgets, but making sure you understand what you're getting for that cheaper price. I think is something people don't always understand.
For me, I feel like it's the density of the tile and kind of like where things are sourced. And then also like the way the print looks, like in general. Would you say those are kind of like some of the two main things?
Yeah, yeah, that too. Not just the faces, but yeah, definitely the print job on the tile. So stuff like that is important, and things that kind of buyers will get educated on when they're working with a designer or somebody that will kind of steer them. That, but people that are DIYing, unless they're asking the right person, they're not finding that. So um,
Yeah, that's really helpful. But yeah, that's also a huge mistake. I feel like, like knowing the quality and knowing where it comes from and knowing how it looks. And I think that's really helpful for avoiding like, because it's a permanent decision, right?
it is. And so you want to make sure that when you're done, that you walk into your space and you love it. And I feel like some people might see a Pinterest picture and they're like, it's a white tile with a gray vein. Here's this tile from, such and such a place, and it's white with a gray vein. So it's going to be beautiful. It's 99 cents a square foot. But they get it in and then they're like, it's horrible. Why is it not beautiful? And it might be that it's the same four tiles on repeat for your entire bathroom, you know? And so and so that kind of thing just lends to, so maybe that would be one mistake people make, is not asking the right questions.
Yeah, that's so true. Because, like, how do you help people choose what they're gonna love 10, 20, 30 years, like, from now, like, and that's obviously something that I kind of struggle with as well. I mean, it's like, do you see any trends that have kind of moved on that you feel like maybe people shouldn't have made
um,
choices of, or like, there's a lot
the
to answer.
Listellos. Do you remember
Oh
Listello?
my gosh,
Was so
yes.
bad. When I first started, every bathroom it got a Listello, and now it's like, you're doing a Listello. You don't want that. So that's definitely one of those things you saw come and go. Now it's accent walls, right? So we're not doing bands anymore. But you have that person that comes in and they must have a band because they've wanted it for 10 years and they're finally remodeling their bathroom. And it's like, do I break their heart? Do I tell them, or do I just let them have it? So but again, things are cyclical. So if you hold on to it long enough, it comes back. 15 years ago, people didn't do white cabinets. They were beige. They were wood tone, right? They were cream, maybe with that glazing, and they were very ornate. And now today they're bright white and they're modern. But now we're moving back into wood tones, but it's that softer blonde wood. Um,
That's so
so,
true.
hang on to it long enough and you'll love it again. Or maybe you'll be tired of it and rip it out anyway. But
So let's talk about some texture and like touch and like things like that. So when someone, like for like example for designers, like when you go into the showroom, like and they're running their fingers over like samples and things like that, do you feel like that also creates this visceral feeling for someone? Or like do you ever see reactions of like designers or homeowners like when they like touch different
yeah.
tiles and things like that?
Oh my gosh. Well, people, we use all of our senses when we're creating an emotional bond to something. So people aren't buying anything without feeling some kind of attachment. We're getting some kind of a feeling from that product that we're purchasing, even if it's just tile. So, we run our hands on it. What does it evoke from us? How does it make us feel? How does that touch make us feel? Kind of like, we have new products now that we're selling for Daltile that have 3D reveal image technology. It's this new technology we've put into our products.
Cool.
And it actually is kind of like embossed and registered for LVP, but it's for tile. So the visual texture matches the physical texture. So you get this really yummy feeling when you run your hand across it. So it's nice. And so we're really pointing that out. We're bringing that to light with tile, which I think is great.
That's super cool. So like I believe that like materials hold energy, right? So like when it's like natural stone, porcelain, ceramic, like when they all feel different, it's not just, visually appealing, but it's like energetically. Like I feel like it kind of gets you like vibing, sometimes when you see that you're like, "Woo, that's cool." But so you've definitely noticed that people kind of respond differently to certain things.
Oh
Okay.
my gosh, yeah. Yeah. People, purchasing anything is an emotional connection just as much as it is physical and everything else. So we're creating bonds to the things that we buy. Um, you know.
Okay, so like literally people walk on their tile all the time. They stand on it, like they touch it like every single day, right? They have their bare feet on the bathroom floor like in the morning, right? And the hands on the kitchen counter while they're cooking. So do you think like that daily contact with materials affect how someone feel in their home?
Um, I would say how people feel would be more. the colors that they're choosing, I
Okay.
think.
Like a combination.
Like a combination. Yeah. For sure. I think running your hands on something, running your feet, um, you definitely don't want to put anything on your floor that's like overly rough. That would be uncomfortable. That
Yeah.
would be actually one thing I've heard clients talk about with river pebbles. They
Yes.
love the sliced pebbles, right? We love the bumpy pebbles when we run our hand on it. But then I have people say, I stayed in an Airbnb and it had the bumpy pebbles and I hated it by day two, that it was way excessive, super pretty. So then you go to the sliced pebbles because you realize maybe that's a little bit too much.
It's such a bizarre thing because like, I run across that too. And like, like personally, like I'm a shiatsu kind of person. Like I'm like, just yeah, nail into me, right? But some people are like so sensitive and they literally were like, oh my gosh, like the shower floor started to hurt me when it was the
Yeah.
pebble with the bumps. So like
The
that's
bouncy pebble. Yeah, the full pebble. And some people say they love it and it's like a massage for their feet. So I do think
yeah.
it's 12
Yeah.
in one hand, a dozen in the other.
I think there's like that is a bizarre connection, but like, so like, but natural stone, for example, it's been used in like, sacred spaces for thousands of years, like temples and mosques and churches. And like, why do you think it is that like some of the more natural materials have been used in like spaces like that historically?
I think because they stand the test of time and the weather and the elements. So, but also when I use that as a comparison for putting natural stone in your home, the one thing we have to remember is that we're not in any of those spaces with a glass of wine. Right? So like I love natural stone in a home and I think it's beautiful, but I think there's some spaces that it's tough to maintain because it is porous and it requires a little bit of maintenance that most people want less maintenance. So the look of natural stone is beautiful. The feel of it is beautiful. All of the elements of it are beautiful. You just have to make sure it's the right decision for your space.
Yeah, I always say I'm like, natural stone is amazing. However, there's a lot of maintenance involved. You kind of have to be a little bit more careful with it. But I was like, on the other hand, I was like, the
Nothing compares.
depth and the texture and the movement. I was like, there's nothing. Even the printed ones, although they've gotten good. Like I
They've
will say,
gotten really good, but
they've
it's still
gotten
not
really
the
good.
same. Still not the same. So, like some of our high-end porcelain marble looks have up to 48 faces. So that's 48 different prints on the front of a tile. But even that doesn't compare to a natural stone that never has a repeat on your entire floor.
Right.
So they can get beautiful, but it's still not the same. So when you're all in, you're like, I don't care about the maintenance and the upkeep, then it's the right choice for you, you know?
That's so true. Yeah, and I even was like having a conversation with like a chef, and they were saying they're like, absolutely, I want the marble on the counter just because it keeps the temperature when he's rolling his dough out and things like that. And he's like, I know that it's gonna chip, and I know that it's like, it's just a matter of like having that right connection with that person. So I feel like it's kind of like a partner, just the right
I
connection.
agree.
So, you still have like the designer eye, I would say, because like you pull out all the beautiful samples and everything like that. So even though you're not really practicing it anymore per se, but how does that show up for you now when you're supporting your clients?
Oh my God. It's actually my favorite part of my job, other
Oh,
than being besties with my customers. My second favorite part would be utilizing my love for design and all the things that are beautiful into showrooms. So a lot of my customers do struggle with how do we stand out? How do we help our customers that don't have that eye? So I actually have numerous customers that build spaces for me and I bring in mood boards, like pre-done flat lays, and I switch them out every time I visit. And so I'm incorporating all of the new things that Daltile has to offer with some of the older things. And I bring in different palettes. So there's colorful and then there's beige and then there's white. And so I get to go in the warehouse and I play with all the things and I love it. And then I decide, oh, I love this with this and this. And then I set it up in my customer spaces. So I am still loving design. I'm just not designing for a customer. But I do actually still have clients that I will step in and I will do design appointments when they're in a pinch. Some of my customers are on vacation. Somebody needed to get seen. So I meet with people. So I still do appointments. It's just not, it's not my regular.
I gotcha. Yeah, and because that was going to be my next question is like, what's the favorite thing? But I think you've already answered that. Like now you can have that longer term relationship, which is super cool. But so is there any like advice that you would give to designers or like as new homeowners when they're like picking their tile, or for someone who's been on both sides? I feel like you have a lot more to say about it. But is there like any other kind of like little wisdom drop that you would kind of just say, hey, look out for this, look out for that, or
Um, I would say the biggest thing is to definitely do your research on Pinterest and all the things. It is beneficial, even when you're working with a really seasoned designer, to walk in and say, I don't know my style is really hard for somebody to help at any level of education and anything. I can't help you figure out what you like. Like that's hard. So whether you're DIYing or you're hiring the most experienced designer, having a feel for what your style is and what you like is huge. And then you can convey that information to somebody else that knows what that means and that can help you hone in on what that's going to look like for you. That would be my biggest
that is
thing.
such a bizarre thing because I feel like so many people walk into a showroom and they're like, I don't know what my style is. But like for me, when I walk into a home, it's so obvious to me, and sometimes there is nothing and that you have to kind of like pull it out of them. But no, that's a really great suggestion. Just kind of like,
Yeah. Even if just creating a Pinterest board of all the things that you like to show the person that's going to help you, and that just it helps a lot. I have to say, when I started in this business 15 years ago, Pinterest didn't exist. I would say 95% of my customers didn't know what they liked. They would walk in and they didn't know if they wanted white cabinets or brown cabinets. So we would spend 45 minutes of the appointment figuring out whether they wanted white cabinets or brown cabinets. And you would think the kitchen cabinets would be the one thing that you knew walking in. But Pinterest has really helped customers become more educated in just the platforms that are out there today. So
that's so true. So I'm gonna kind of transition a little bit. So like, how would you define beauty when it comes to tile and stone? Like, has that definition changed for you, or has it transitioned, or like, has it changed at all, like over the years from designing to ripping? Yes, yes, okay.
isn't it always changing the standard of beauty? Like
Yeah,
always, it's always moving. It's always the moving target that you're trying to get to. But yes, so currently I would say the standard of beauty is warmth and that feeling of cozy you get from something with those cooler beige tones, those warmer beige tones. Whereas 5 years ago, if you would have asked me, it would have been white marble, right?
yes,
So,
yes,
um,
totally. Oh my
so as
gosh.
the trends are constantly changing, so is all of our desires and our wants. I feel like.
Well, for me, I feel like right now it's like whatever doesn't get ruined with my children. That looks great.
It's gonna hide everything. Um, but yeah, no, they were saying I was reading some blog and they were saying that a woman's taste changes every 5 to 8 years. So every 5 to 8 years, we're over everything that's in our house and we're ready to redo it all. Now, of course, nobody really has the budget to do it every 5 to 8 years. So we slowly
Right.
change things out, which is why I love eclectic. Eclectic means I can have a little bit from every era of my life and it worked together. um,
Have you ever had clients like come back and be like, like over the years and be like, I just absolutely love what I chose? Or like even like after it's been done?
Oh my God. Of course. People love
Good.
it. People do something and they love it. They get excited. They send pictures. They tell you how great it is. And it's always such a comforting feeling when you know that you've designed a space and helped them with something they're going to live and cherish forever. So it's good.
So really like here's what I believe. I think that, the people who we help, you choose materials for their home. And I think we're honestly doing some sacred work because we're helping people select literally the foundation of where they're going to live, where they're going to love, where they're going to grieve, celebrate, do all the things, right? And I think that's just a really beautiful thing. So even though we're not necessarily drawing all the floor plans, maybe you're not doing that anymore, but you're definitely helping people shape their life, even when it's through the designers, like to experience their home. So does that kind of feel like that's what you're doing? I mean, I feel like, it's awesome thing, really.
It is. It is. Helping people design spaces that they're going to live in and that they're going to love it's rewarding, and making spaces beautiful is just rewarding in general. So it's a great job. I love that I got into this industry, and I will never leave. I will always be in here in some capacity. It's a great place to be.
So this is kind of a random question that I like to close with, but if your home could speak, what would it say about you?
Oh my God. um, um, Keep it quiet because we're really loud. Bring it down a level.
Bring it down a little bit.
Down
Too
a
right.
little bit. Too loud. Too loud.
You need some woosah.
Yes. Well, I have 3 kids, so it's chaos at all times. But so I mean that would be one thing. Yes, I think it would just talk about the level of noise, or at least my husband does. But when it comes to design, if it had to say something in terms of design, maybe kind of a Zen feeling. I don't know if my house would have words, but it's kind of like a Zen. It's your place of peace, your place to settle in, to be yourselves, to let loose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you mind if I do a quick lightning round?
I don't know what that means, but let's
It
do
just
it.
means I'm gonna fire a couple questions. You gotta give me like some quick answers, okay?
Okay.
Okay. So favorite Tyler Stone you've worked with
Favorite Tyler Stone, what?
that you've ever worked with?
Like favorite tile, like specific, like
Tyler Stone, like, is there one that you're like, you need to see this, you need to see that, like any kind of like?
is it okay if I say, look at this, I'm not making it lightning, am I? Is it okay if I
Okay.
say like a Daltile product, like a color?
Sure. Yeah, go for it.
My current favorite, Calgary,
What does that look like?
CP40 from Daltile. It's just this warm, creamy, polished tile that just embodies all of the things that are going on right
Oh,
now. And
I
it
think
comes
I know what you're
with
talking
and
about.
it's
Yeah.
so
I
pretty.
have that one, right?
I think you have that one. You
Yeah.
should. I carry it around in my car. I have a couple pieces in my car. So if I'm like, you don't have this yet, you should have this.
So most underrated tile finish you think that people need to look into?
Satin. People don't even really know about satin. So it's like that in between finish on a porcelain that people often forget. And so it's not quite polished and it's not quite matte, but it has a nice sheen to it.
So what about that sugar finish? What would that is that's kind of like in between, right?
Right? It's kind of in between.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like that's coming around. I don't know how long that's gonna hold, but I feel like there's a place for that. If you like the little sparkle, but you don't want to be like full blown sparkle, you know?
Right? I'm a fan for the in between.
So one design element in tile that instantly shifts a space, like how it feels. Do you feel like there's anything of that, like a specific design element, like something that you could do the way you arrange it or the way you place it? There's something that's like really dramatic, like any kind of tile placement?
Um, well,
Could be anything.
backsplash. I mean, that makes such a huge impact for
Yeah.
such a small space. I wouldn't say it goes overlooked because that's something that people agonize over, and for good reason. It's a small area, but makes a huge impact.
Do you ever get the itch to design full projects again?
Yes, but I'm happy where I'm at. But yes.
Okay. So, all right. Well, I'm just, going to wrap it up, but I just wanted to say thank you so much. I love hearing from someone who's kind of been on both sides, and is just in the thick of it. So, but you bring like a ton of grounding, experience, perspective, and all of that. But before I go, where can people connect with you? Is there a good way to get I suppose like via email? What's the best way to reach out to you if people have tile questions?
If people have tile questions, probably their best bet would be to maybe get with you, and then they can get with me. But no,
Okay.
tile questions. So the best way to connect with me would be maybe on Facebook
Sure.
or Instagram, Dannie Hockenberry. I'm out there.
Okay, but like tile resource, I suppose Daltile Resources has like a pretty good website to
Right.
look at as
Right. If
well.
they have
Yeah.
tile questions, the Daltile website is actually my favorite when it comes to all things tile. When I was a designer and I worked with all the different vendors, all their websites were really hard to navigate, but ours is super easy and has all of the things you need. So any questions that you have are always very easily answered on the website.
Okay, that's perfect. I think that's great. That's lovely. And then, so for anyone listening, whether you're a designer that's specifying tile or you're a homeowner choosing your kitchen backsplash, just remember that you're not only picking a product, but you're choosing the material that you hold with your daily rituals. So choose with intention, right?
Yes.
Hi, sacred friends. Thanks again so much for listening. I just wanted to remind you, October 30th, 7 p.m., we're having a free live workshop. And we are going to find out how to embody our personal style. Yep, that's right. One-on-one, I'm going to take you through exactly how to find your style, make a mood board, play around with the sacred geometry of your kitchen, all in our live workshop, October 30th at 7 p.m. I'll see you there.